Let's start with our first speaker, Yen Vu, joining us from our Vietnam office. She will provide an overview of the latest cosmetic regulations in Vietnam. Ms. Yen is a Senior Regulatory Affairs Manager with a strong background in biotechnology and law. She has worked in L'Oreal Vietnam and leading law firms such as Tilleke and Gibbons, bringing deep expertise in product registration and regulatory strategy. Please join me in welcoming Yen. Yen, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Yen Vu, representing RICH 28 in Vietnam, and it's a pleasure to share with you on today insights on the Vietnam cosmetic compliance, notification compliance, and labeling essential. So in this webinar, I will walk you through 4 main sections. First is the legal basis, and then we will study cosmetic notification and labeling requirement in Vietnam. And last but not least, I'll introduce you some case study to understand the real challenge that you may face in Vietnam. And now we will go through each of the sections in details. First, let's look at the part 1 of legal basis, and we will cover 4 points. The management authority, and then we will look at the regulation relating to cosmetic notification and labeling in Vietnam. Lastly, I will introduce brief some major changes in cosmetic notification regulation in Vietnam according to the regulation draft. So in Vietnam, the cosmetic regulatory system is governed by the Ministry of Health, and under the MOH, the Drug Administration of Vietnam, or we call the DAV for short, is the key player that handle cosmetic notification and national regulatory guidance. The DAV also coordinate with local authorities on post-market surveillance for cosmetic. So, and at the local level, we have the departments of health and operating under the DAV directions, and they are responsible for enforcement and post-market surveillance. And they also handle cosmetic advertisements in Vietnam. Moving on, the following documents constitute the legal framework for cosmetic notification in Vietnam. And firstly, we have the ASEAN Cosmetic Directive. This is the most critical documents that form the foundation for all cosmetic related regulation in Vietnam. Or in other words, the regulation in Vietnam must align with the provisions of the ICD. And within the ICD, we have specific guidelines and annex that are particularly relevant for cosmetic notification, including first the ASEAN Cosmetic Claim Guideline, and then we have the 5 annex concerning prohibited or restricted or permitted ingredients, and these documents are directly followed by the Vietnamese authority during cosmetic notification review process in Vietnam. For country-specific regulation, we have firstly Circular 06 issued in 2011 by the Ministry of Health, and this circular was further amended by Circular 29 to 2020 on cosmetic notification management. And last we have Decree 69 is issued in 2018, which guide the law on foreign trade. And this document provides specific requirement for the document free sale certificates for imported cosmetic in Vietnam. Regarding the cosmetic labeling in Vietnam, labeling requirements are primarily stipulated in the first two documents in here, because the circular 06 2011 issued by the Ministry of Health is aligned with the ACD. So it holds the highest authority in determining labeling requirement, and this point was also confirmed by the DAV. However, in practice, we strongly recommend you to also consult with two letter documents when deciding labeling contents. This is because that many stakeholders in Vietnam may refer to them to question or challenge your products labeling compliance. Before we dive into the notification requirement and process in Vietnam, I'd like to briefly highlight some major changes proposed in the draft decree on cosmetic management that were released in May 2025 this year. In the regulation drafts, the proposal are many, but due to time limited, I'll focus on those most relevant to cosmetic notification in Vietnam. Notably, the draft aims to firstly clarify the criteria for product function and claims and classification, and also it's reduced the validity period for cosmetic in Vietnam from 5 years to 3 years, and to be aligned with the regulation of ASEAN countries. The proposals also extend the notification timeline to allow the drug administration of Vietnam to have more time for proper review, because the current timeline is only 3 days, and it often too short for thorough assessment. And the proposal also to harmonize the online notification system for both domestic and imported cosmetic, because at present only imported cosmetic can be submitted online. So as of now, the timeline for ratification of the draft are uncertain, so we recommend you to stay updated and ready to adapt promptly once the new regulations come into effect. Let's study cosmetic notification in Vietnam. We will go through 4 points, as you can see in the slide here. Now let's begin with the overall process for importing cosmetic into Vietnam. The first step is for the responsible company to submit a cosmetic notification to the Drug Administration of Vietnam for approval before importing. And in Vietnam, the responsible company is the entity that files cosmetic notification, and it held accountable for the safety and the quality of the products on the market. And under the current regulation of Vietnam, this company must be the local company. It means it's legally established in Vietnam, and they must have the function of cosmetic trading and or manufacturing recorded in their business registration certificate. So in Vietnam, the responsible company can do the import of cosmetic product directly or authorize an importer to do it on their behalf. And in principle, the cosmetic importation is only possible if the cosmetic have obtained the approval from the DAV. So in this regard, you must plan your notification timeline very well, carefully, because if your product arrive as a custom guest before the notification certificate is ready, so the products will be held until approval is granted, and this delay may result in first, you must pay the additional storage fee for the custom warehouse, and it's potential yes, maybe potential damage or even loss to your products during storage there. Before placing your product on the market, it's required to add a sub-label to supplement the mandatory information or that is missing on the original label, or to indicate the information that must be in Vietnamese. Also, you should check the claim. You check the claim and submit cosmetic advertisement as it is subject to pre-approval in Vietnam. So, and once the products are on the market, the responsible company must ensure the product information file is prepared and made available to the authority upon their request at any time. So here is the checklist of the required documents and information for cosmetic notification in Vietnam. And this slide have outlined the details, but in summary, in addition to the basic information of your product, the responsible company must submit first the letter of authorization from the product owner or manufacturer, and the free sale certificate for the product. Please take note that the specific requirement for both documents are highlighted in the slide here. For example, for LOA, the requirements are provided at the Article 6 of Circular 06 2011 of the Ministry of Health. For the CFS, the requirements are outlined in Article 10 of Decree 69 2018, and also need to refer to Circular 06 2011 as amended by Circular 29 2023 of the Ministry of Health. In some cases, the CFS in Vietnam for imported cosmetic in Vietnam may be exempted or can be substituted with equivalent documents. For example, if your products are are manufactured in CPTPP countries, so the CFS is not required. For products exported from Singapore or Malaysia, you can use the product notification in those countries to in place of CFS. So, and one final note that the DAV is very strict on the document formalities. So please make sure that all information is consistent and consistent between the documents, and even the minor discrepancy can result in delays or objection to your notification. Let's walk through the notification procedure step by step. Firstly, for the first step, as all submission is imported for imported cosmetic submitted online, so you first must register an account with the national single window to upload your cosmetic notification request, and also to submit and transfer your notification request to you must register and buy an USB token from the service provider for e-signature of your notification. And the lead time for this step is often about 1 week. The second step is to submit the notification request to the national single window, and it will then be transferred to the DAV system. Often this step is done immediately, but sometimes due to the backlog of the system, or it may take longer time for you to submit and transfer your request to the system. And the third step is at the DAV. When they receive, you receive the request for payment, so you must pay the examination fee, and the lead time for you for the DAV to issue the payment request, and for you to make the payment, and for the DAV to acknowledge the payment is often a couple of days to within 1 week. And then the request will be assigned to the DAV official to handle. If your request is going smoothly and there's nothing you need to clarify or supplement, your request will be approved and go to the final step in here. Otherwise, the DAV officer may object to your notification request, and you have 3 months to respond to it. After the response, if the response is satisfactory, then the DAV will officially issue a notification number, and at the step 5 here, and the lead time for step is often within 1 week. So you can see that in summary, the total lead time for the whole process, notification process in here is from 2 to 3 months on average. So due to many reasons, the notification requests in Vietnam are often objected by the DAV. Within the time limit, I will introduce some most common mistakes that lead to notification objection in Vietnam, and share the practical tips on how to avoid them. The first common mistake is the mistake when filling out the information in the notification request. Some examples are listed in here for your reference. And To avoid this mistake, make sure you understand well the DAV notification review practice, and be careful when filling out the notification request, especially in the sections for like product category and ingredient list. Certain ingredients such as DNA or collagen, you can consider adding like relevant explanation on their origin. For the claims, please refer to ASEAN claim guidelines, and especially if possible, please consult with a local expert on the current practice and acceptable claims at the DAV. And you also need to ensure the consistency in information indicated in the notification and the documents submitted. The second common mistake that often leads to notification objection is that the LOA and CFS are not properly executed, especially firstly for CFS and the first case, CFS and LOA, they do not include required information, and the second case that the CFS was not issued by the competent authority, and also there was no notarization or verification to the signatory's signature and or the seal of the company or the issuing authority. Here are the practical tips how to avoid the objection to the LOA and CFS. First, you should ensure that CFS satisfy the requirement under Article 10 of Decree 69, 2018. For LOA, please refer to the requirement indicated in Circular 06, 2011 of the Ministry of Health. And if possible, please consult with a local expert in case of any doubt. Now, let's move on to the labeling regulation for cosmetic in Vietnam. And we will begin by reviewing the mandatory labeling requirement, and then we will explore how sublabels are regulated in Vietnam. And finally, I will share you some best practice for label design and compliance in the Vietnamese market. First, as to the labeling requirement for the language, it could be in English or Vietnamese, and then the mandatory information for cosmetic labeling are indicated in here in this slide. Please note that the right information indicated in here must be in Vietnamese, including the instruction for use, name and or address of the company responsible for putting the product on the market, and lastly, the safety caution or warning, if any. For the label size, it could be flexible, but the contents must be eligible to be read by naked eyes. In case of small size products, if there's not enough room for all mandatory information, so an auxiliary label attached to the cosmetic product can be used to supplement the information lacking, but make sure that the product name and lot number must be included in the immediate packaging. So in Vietnam, sub-labels for cosmetic is possible, especially if the original label is in a like foreign language or the original label lacks mandatory information. So a sub-label can be used firstly to show the mandatory information in Vietnamese. And please note that it must be translated from the information on the original label, if any. And the sublabel is also used to supplement the mandatory information lacking. For example, the instruction for use must be in Vietnamese in the cosmetic label, right? So if the original label show that information in English or other languages, you must use a sublabel to supplement that information in Vietnamese, and the information must be translated from the information on the original label. Here are the requirements for mandatory information for sub labels for cosmetic label in Vietnam. First, the sub-label must be put on the product before it is circulating on the market, and it must not obscure the mandatory information in a foreign language on the original label. And it can, if you want, you can include additional information, for example, the notification number or sales contact or hotline, for the consumer to contact. And the sublabel must be illegible to read by naked eyes. Here is a labeling example for cosmetic in Vietnam. And so basically the original label also in English with mandatory information, and the sublabel will be sticked in here to supplement the mandatory information that must be in Vietnamese, including the item number 2, 4, and 9 in here. Here are some notes regarding the best practice for cosmetic label design and compliance in Vietnam. So when designing compliant labels, please note that the following. Firstly, for mandatory information, please ensure all required information is included and written in Vietnamese as per required. For the font size and layout, please use legible font size with clear size fonts with clear size and contrast, and all mandatory information must be easily readable by naked eyes. For sublabeling, please note that the sublabel must not obscure any mandatory information on the original label. And the information in the sublabel and the original label must be accurate and consistent, including the translation. And lastly, but not least, the label should match with the notification file. The actual or physical products label must match with what was submitted in the notification of the cosmetic, because the authority will compare your product on shelf with the document submitted, and any inconsistency may lead to sanction. Now let's look at some case study to understand the real challenge. We'll go through objection during notification process and potential or labeling violation without practicals on how to overcome the situations. First, let me share some typical example of the DV objection during notification process in Vietnam. So in Vietnam, the most common type of objection is related to product claims. And in fact, the claims are one of the main reasons that lead to notification rejection. And here are the few examples of the claims that have been objected by the Drug Administration of Vietnam, and all these claims are considered beyond cosmetic scope in Vietnam. So in order to overcome such objection, cosmetic claim should be reworded or softened to ensure they remain within acceptable cosmetic boundaries under the ASEAN Cosmetic Claim Guidelines and the current DAV review practice. But please note that even though certain claims are acceptable under the ASEAN Cosmetic Claim Guidelines, they are not always accepted by the DAV. In practice, the wordings often needs to be further softened compared to what allowed under the ASEAN guidelines. And in this slide, I have include some example on for you to understand to how the claim can be rephrased to increase the likelihood of approval in Vietnam. For example, for the first claim, wrinkle correction and filler, you can soften the claims to help reduce the wrinkles and leave the skin smooth. For the second claim, firming body, it can be reworded as help firm the skin or bring skin a firmer look. For anti-aging claims, the DAV currently does not accept this term literally, and instead the applicants are required to clarify the product efficacy by specifying the sign of aging that are improved by the products. So rather than using the term anti-aging, you should refer to specific benefits such as reducing the appearance of fine lines or wrinkles, or improving the skin firmness or smoothness, hydration, or even radiance. And so, for example, you can say instead of anti-aging claim, you can say that helps reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, or improve the skin radiance, or an elasticity for a more youthful appearance. So for this matter, we recommend that you consult with a local expert to stay updated on the DAV current approach to claim acceptance and to ensure that your submission are aligned with their expectation to avoid objections. Case study number 2 in here will help you to understand how to properly fill out the information in the notification request in order to avoid objection. And we have 2 specific examples here. The first case here relate to product classification of categories, which is a quite common reason for objection from the DAV. For instance, if you have like a skincare product in the form the form of a cream with the whitening function. So you should not only select the first category of cream or emulsion or lotion in here, but also tick in the skin whitening products box in here. For the second example, it's involved how the ingredients are listed and explained with notes here in the notification form. Although there's no official requirement and explanation on how to do that, it's important to understand the DAV's review practice, so you can provide the information in a way that meets their expectation. For example, for a product containing in DNA ingredient, you should add a note explaining its origin here, along with supporting document to back it up. So, and DAV objection to CFS is also a common objection during notification process in Vietnam. In the first example, the CFS were rejected because it does not include sufficient information. Therefore, before proceeding, make sure that your CFS include all mandatory information as required in Article 10 of Decree 69/2018, and as the CFS is an important document that is not easy to obtain, so we recommend that you consult with a local expert to confirm the CFS validity before submitting to avoid challenge. Similarly, here is another example that the CFS were objected during the notification process. In this case, the CFS was not properly executed. It was not issued by the competent authority, and also it's like notarization of the signatory's signature. And to avoid this issue, make sure that you carefully review the requirements for CFS as outlined in Decree 69/2018 and Circular 06 of 2011. And if you are unsure about something, it's best to consult with a local expert before submitting. Let's look at some some real objection to the from DAV for the LOA. Here's an example of the LOA objection. Especially the LOA was objected to because it lacked the manufacturer information, especially the name and address, and the signature has not been notarized or verified before proceeding with the legalization. So to overcome such objection, please carefully review the requirement of the LOA indicated in Circular 06/2011 issued by the Ministry of Health. And also, if possible, please consult with a local expert on the current LOA related practice at the DAV. In this slide, I will introduce some real case of a potential non-compliance in cosmetic labeling in Vietnam. Some common mistakes include, but not limited in it. Firstly, the information maybe cannot be read by the naked eyes, as you can see in example 1 in here. Please note that for small size products, Vietnam allow immediate label to include only the product name and lot number, and you can use like a leaflet or outer packaging to provide the rest of mandatory information, and it helps when the label is too small for all required text. In example 2 in here, there are two issues. First, the sublabel is easy to be like easily detectable, and this is not compliant under the regulation of Vietnam. And the second problem is that the label include the overclaim and or unsupported claims, such as 10 times thicker eyelashes here, or 2 times double collagen, or prevent eyelash loss, would require supporting documents, and these documents would not provide by the responsible company at the time of the inspection. So when it comes to product claims, we highly recommend you to consult with a local expert to choose appropriate wordings that are compliant and aligned with the current DAV practice. For this case, it's illustrate also another common mistake when using sublabel in Vietnam. In this case, the sublabel may cover mandatory information that is present on the original label in here, and this is not accepted under the Vietnamese regulation. Another frequent issue is a mismatch between the original label and the sublabel. So if the mandatory information is provided in like foreign language or in English on the original label, so the translation on the sublabel must accurately reflect the original content and use consistent wordings to avoid objection. So we have just presented to you the key essential relating to cosmetic notification and labeling in Vietnam. because the time is limited, so there's certainly many aspects that we couldn't cover in today's webinar. And so to support the market entries in Vietnam, we offer a comprehensive regulatory service across a wide range of products category, including cosmetic, food, chemical product, including cleaning products for household use in Vietnam, and also sustainability service. So if you please note that our service always can always be tailored to your needs. So if you interested, or if you have like any question, feel free to contact us. So thank you for your attention to our webinar today, and see you soon.